Good morning, everyone. This is part 3, vlog 3 of a series that we started 2 days ago, in fact, about writing a short story. The project started by going out into Mexico City, where we are now. Right now, I'm in Bosque de Chapultepec, but during vlog 1, I went to El Centro to ask for a scary story. So what we're gonna do here is try to find somebody who I can ask about what scares them. Do I just talk to the cops themselves? Do I just talk to these security guards? Let's see what's up. Hola chicos, ¿qué tal? Soy Asa, mi nombre es Asa. Soy un escritor de terror. De hecho, estoy buscando para historietas, relatitos de personas acá en Ciudad de México. Yo vivo acá también, pero hago un, ¿cómo se dice? Un survey de cosas que da miedo. ¿Puedo platicar con ustedes por un ratito?
Estamos en el servicio ahorita.
Ah, ok.
Sí, como ya se acabó la hora de la comida.
Pero es solo por 30 segunditos, algo que te da miedo.
¿Qué da miedo? Pues aquí, aquí cuando en la noche se aparece una mujer. Aquí en la noche se aparece una mujer. Como este edificio se cayó en el 85, pues se aparecen varios fantasmas aquí adentro.
¿En serio?
Sí.
¿Este edificio?
Sí, en este edificio.
¿Por qué?
¿Por qué? Porque pues las almas quedaron en pena.
¿En serio?
Sí.
Wow. Vale.
Sí.
Ok.
Pero pues ahora sí que, pues nada más es eso.
Sí, es mucho.
Sí.
Es mucho. Es demasiado. Vale, gracias. Qué amable. With that as inspiration, I have started to write a short story. And it's been an incredible creative process because it continues to evolve at a rapid rate. And I think that this is going to be the critical push. The elements of this story, both plot-wise, theme-wise, everything-wise, worth sharing, that in between the last time we spoke and this time we spoke, I read this. Tananarive, I'm grateful for you. Things are moving along. Did I finish? Not quite. Did I have a revelation? Definitely. The story wants to be actually the story of this guy's childhood. All of a sudden that was becoming really great. And, you know, there's that term in journalism, bury the lead. I was like, this is the lead. This is the story. This is awesome. The story has utterly changed. There is no longer a building. There is no longer a ghost who haunts a building. The jewelry shop is long gone, and it's not like these things disappeared from the start. I drafted that part of the story, and the story continues to find itself. I've been working hard the last few days, and we're going to continue that process in this vlog. I'm going to go work a little bit, and then after that, I'll update you on the status of the short story. We'll go into more specifics about the plot, where I'm at with it. We'll talk about structure, disregarding structure, restructuring, some really exciting kind of brass tacks craft stuff, and hopefully by the end of this vlog, you know, we will arrive at a finished draft. I've said that so many times this week, so we'll see, but I'm hopeful. I am hopeful, and I just wanted to say that the reason I sat here at Bosque de Chapultepec, this giant park here in Mexico City, has sort of a Central Park feel if you've spent time in New York City, is because I just want to say that I feel connected to you watching this video, because I wanted to include dozens of people in the frame, because I know there's dozens of you out there watching this video, and we're all trying to do the same thing, which is become writers, write stuff that we're proud of, sell stuff that we're proud of, and build this life as artists, as professionals, as writers. And I just want to thank you for being here. So let's get to writing. Labyrinth. Y'all, this park is full of treasures. Whoa, oh my God. Okay, so I'm a big metaphor guy, and I think we're gonna take this opportunity, oh my God, this is crazy, to talk about finding your story. So if you saw the first two vlogs, or even at the beginning, I referenced this, it's taken me a little while to get to the heart of this story. And I think, like a labyrinth or a maze, there have been lots of dead ends. Like I said, I pursued this whole plot around a building and a woman and jewelry, all wrong. I've landed on a story about a playground in Texas, totally different. But I would say that neither of those things are really the heart of the story, the center of the labyrinth, as it were. And that's where I think one has to think about what you're trying to say. What is the story doing? Why is this more than a yarn? Why is this more than a spooky tale at a campfire? Which I'm totally here for, but I'd rather be at a campfire for that. If I want to read a story, I want to finish the story feeling something that ideally will stick with me a little bit. And so it took me a little while, this is so trippy, to really land on that. And in writing, I eventually figured out that what I'm really writing about in this story is my relationship with my brother. The evolution of that relationship, how we used to be totally close, and then that changed, and then we came sort of close again. I love you, Casey. That's what this thing is really about. It started about a ghost story in a city in the middle of a city, a building in the middle of a city, a ghost story, turned into a Texas playground. Still was searching, circling, just as I am now, hitting all these walls, banging up against them in order to find the truth of it, the inner truth. And, as a horror writer, I think my number one job is to keep folks entertained, to keep folks scared, on edge, turning pages. But I'm also not here to just do that. I think that would be a waste of someone's time, someone reading the story. Certainly if there's an opportunity to do something more, then, which I think there always is. So anyway, that's my labyrinth metaphor. This labyrinth is actually quite hard. Anyway, that was a great writing session back there, by the way. We're getting close, chipping away scene by scene, moment by moment. What remained was to identify why my protagonist was so scared of these ghosts that came out of the playground. It's gonna be good, y'all. It's gonna be good. So it is, let's see, what time is it? It is 1:19. We got, oh my God, that was a wall. We got more day ahead. So I'll keep you posted. That was so hard. And there was no emergency exit. And I was busy talking to y'all. So, before I mentioned structure, finding it, abandoning it, finding it again, I just wanted to touch on that briefly. This is something I care a lot about as a writer. I think it's a strength of mine. I think it's something that can really sustain me when I'm lost on a piece. And so I just want to talk a little bit about the ways I think about structure. So when we started this series of vlogs, we learned a particular template, a structural format for writing a short horror story. We got this from Tanana Reed-Dew's class, How to Write a Short Story. In that template, she says, open with a mini crisis, a micro conflict, set up your conceit around something that you're actually afraid of. If you're afraid of being in a tunnel, if you're afraid of bed bugs, like the story from last time, Find something that in the real world you're afraid of, make it fantastic, put a protagonist in that circumstance and see what happens. I could go into that with more detail, but if you just sort of hang with that, take it for granted as a structure. Now, as I was writing, I abandoned that. I found myself completely jettisoning that proposal, that proposition. And, it's actually not so much that I found myself doing that. I realized it after the fact, after I had sort of rewritten the story, after I had shed the whole business about the jewelry shop, focused on this childhood memory, got us to the playground place, etc. After the story evolved, I was like, okay, wow, I've totally lost that shape. That's okay. And at that point in my notes, I started analyzing what I had written in the lens of structure, looking at it through a 5-act structure, which I've only ever applied to full-length narrative projects, but turns out, lo and behold, it works for a short story, and I was in fact implementing this structure onto this short story. So, I could go into what those little 5 things are, but I think actually what's most important here is that structure is a tool, and this is just the way I do it, sharing for what it's worth. The way I do it is I see structure models as a tool that you can use to give you momentum, to give you traction. But as soon as they stop serving you, you need to get off that road, go down the other road, see where it takes you. And then once you're down some other road, you can say, oh, hey, does this have structural integrity? Is this a propulsive narrative? Yes, awesome. No, is there kind of some structure ideas that could help me? So I just wanted to share that. I love structure. I'm a structure head. That's part of this channel. I'm going to sign off here. And it's becoming clear to me that the project of this channel is not just to document a specific project that I'm working on, but is to document this evolution of my personal life, my professional life, to get me to a place where I'm generating the kind of work that I want as often as I want. And what's happened over the last few weeks is I've developed new habits, a new morning routine. I've been reading more than I have since college, dare I say, and all of these things are coming together. I'm starting to build new principles around which to orient my life. One, for example, that I have now dubbed an acronym ABR, always be reading. That's a new attitude I have. Yesterday I read on the train, on the subway here in Mexico City. It was a short trip. I think typically I would have been on my phone or, I don't know, just sitting on the train, and I read. This morning I went to the gym. I was going into a class, and instead of just chilling there on my phone, is this a theme? I think we can relate to this. I read a little bit of a book. These are simple things, but even within a few weeks, I'm starting to perceive the difference that it's making in my creative life. I'm starting to read short stories at volume in a way that I never have. And I can already feel the excellence, the sort of virtuosity, the leanness of the writers I'm reading right now. Stephen Graham Jones, Tananarive Due, Samantha Schweblins. These are excellent short story writers. And I'm like, okay, wow. The more I read these people, the more confidence I have, the more going into it. So, I just wanted to share that before launching into the rest of the vlog, the short story part of the vlog, because I'm really feeling that momentum, feeling that energy. And I'm realizing that this can be built with just a few hours a day, just a focused couple hours. You can achieve so much.